Shields up, Ironbreakers. Rurikhan here, coming at you with another edition of the Cons Cast. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about Monster Hunter World Iceborne because we just received a new trailer for Iceborne. This time around, it is the story trailer, and with it, there is a bunch of new information for us to go over. The official website has also been updated, and we're going to be going over some of the information in the official website. Let's begin. A grand new assignment in uncharted lands, strange monster phenomena, and a new mystery at the heart of it all. A flock of Legiana were spotted fleeing from the ancient forest. Sensing they were on the cusp of something unusual, the research commission decided to board the Third Fleet's airship and cross the sea in pursuit. What they found past the rough seas was a new landmass locked beneath snow and ice. So it looks like we're going to be taking the Third Fleet's airship into the new landmass. We're going to be chasing down the Legianas that were fleeing from the ancient forest. And that is how we will get to the new landmass. Now, diving a little bit deeper into the story section of the website, they tell us about the major characters that we can expect to interact with in Iceborne. Naturally, these are not going to be all of the characters, just some of the major characters that we'll interact with starting when we start the game. I would assume that this list will grow extensively as we progress through the game. Some of those characters are the commander, the field team leader, the handler, the tracker, the third fleet master, and the second fleet master. And the interesting thing here is if we actually go to the commander section, it tells us that he was a part of a small group known as the First Fleet. We know that already. He was a part of the First Fleet. They made the maiden voyage to the New World. He commands with a calm and steady demeanor, but at times comes up with wild, unbelievable ideas. Like the Dragonator. After the construction of Celiana, which is the new base that we will be constructing in the new landmass, he hands the reins over to the field team leader while he keeps the peace in Astera. So the commander is going to go back to Astera, and the person in charge is going to be the field team leader, which we interacted with him in Monster Hunter World, a young man who leads the hunters and handlers of the Research Commission. He is the grandson of the commander and is the only person in the Research Commission to be born in the New World. He puts the safety of everyone in the commission above all else and is now in charge of protecting their new home of Celiana. The flavor text for the handler tells us that while investigating with her partner in the ancient forest, they spotted a flock of Legiana flying across the sea, setting off a brand new investigation. As if drawn by the song that she heard, she and her partner head off to the new land together. It's actually interesting that for once, the handler was actually guided by her ears instead of her mouth, because usually she's just like, dude, let's find everything in a new world and then eat it. Now, the flavored text for the tracker is a little bit more interesting. For those of you that don't remember, the tracker is the NPC that you meet when you go down to the Rotten Vale with the handler, and you guys get kind of ambushed by an Odogodon. She shows up and she shoots a dung pod into the Odogodon's face, and we all make our escape. Her text goes, the First Fleet's expert handler and a mentor to the hunter's handler. She's an expert in natural sciences and can handle herself well while out on expeditions. Her curiosity and desire to understand everything leads her to go on extended expeditions from which she rarely returns to base. Upon hearing news of a newly discovered landmass, she immediately decides to make the trek. What she hopes to find, she keeps close to her. So the tracker has a couple of secrets, and the tracker is a part of the First Fleet's expedition. And the interesting thing here is, in the trailer, we actually hear the handler say, 40 years ago, their expedition failed. Well, 40 years ago is when the First Fleet initially arrived in the New World. And that makes me wonder, how exactly is the First Fleet expedition a failure? Like, what happened that caused that expedition to be considered a failure? Is she even referring to the First Fleet? We just don't know. Is she referring to an offshoot of the First Fleet that went off in search of the new landmass? Because also in the trailer, we see a new ship. That ship does have the sapphire star of the First Fleet, but it is enveloped by the dragon symbol, which looks like Velkhana's symbol. So could it be that that particular fleet was actually looking for Velkhana? We don't know, and it's actually very interesting. And the tracker in the video, she finds that ship, which is the whole thing about what she hopes to find. She keeps close to her, and she's like, I found you. And I wonder what's on that ship. Why is the tracker looking for that ship? And what is the purpose of all of that stuff? It just has me really, really curious. Moving from that to the ecosystem, they talk about the Hoarfrost Reach, a cold and hospitable region covered in snow and ice. It may look too hostile to survive, but it is teeming with unique endemic life. Hoarfrost Reach has a variety of different areas. As you continue your investigations, you'll uncover more parts of the map, eventually culminating in the largest locale in Monster Hunter World. Hoarfrost Reach is an area formed by layers of icy walls. The unsure footing and narrow passes will surely make for a difficult investigation. I guess we can expect to see a couple of traps here and there, kind of like what we had in Wildspire Wastes with the Diablos coming in from below. I wonder if there's going to be something along those lines in one of the areas of Hoarfrost Reach, because supposedly it's going to be the biggest zone that we've seen so far. Many undiscovered areas lay in wait in the Hoarfrost Reach and will need further investigation. Again, this just emphasizes the fact that as you progress through the different quests that we'll get in Iceborne, the area is going to progressively get bigger. And by the end, I'm very curious to see if it's going to be hard to navigate or what the deal is going to be with that. Are we actually going to have to use stuff like winged drakes and other means of transportation, which we will get into, because clearly you guys have seen the Jagras riding that we saw in the trailer. If we then move on to the updated monster sections, they talk about Velkhana, an elder dragon with the power to freeze all. According to ancient legend, it can freely control the cold and unleash an icy blast of breath. Tigrex, a flying wyvern straight out of prehistory, known for its deafening roar and powerful legs that drive its overwhelming charge. And in the trailer, it was actually really cool to see the sheer momentum that the Tigrex is able to generate in the engine of Monster Hunter World. It just looks amazing. As a matter of fact, in the trailer, one of the attacks goes by so fast that I wouldn't be surprised if most players didn't even realize that there's a tail swipe in the middle of his attacks. It's that good. Like, he seriously just drifts all over the place, as he claws through the ground. It looks friggin' amazing. Shrieking Legiana, a Legiana variant shrouded in white frost. It specializes in freezing prey with the powerful chill it emits, then swooping down to strike them all from overhead. So this is a variant. It is not to be confused with a subspecies. So for instance, regular Rathalos has a subspecies called the Azure Rathalos. Regular Rathian has a subspecies called the Pink Rathian. Those are subspecies. Variants are different types of monsters. So another example of a variant would be the Savage Devil Joe, which shows up on Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate. Another one would be the Raging Brachydios, which shows up in Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. And there's other examples as you go further into the games. Then they talk a little bit about Bombaro as well, which Bombaro is friggin' awesome, and I can't wait to craft this entire set, and I hope that they make a Bombaro layered set, because it is the coolest armor set I've seen in Monster Hunter World so far. I'm also with two giant horns, like a running brick wall. Like a running brick wall! It charges at threats while digging its massive horns into the ground, sometimes picking up entire trees in its path. And then finally, we also have Biotudus, a piscine wyvern that uses the sharp fin on its head to cut through the frozen soil, swimming freely through the snow. Can often be seen hurling snow at its prey using its leg fins. Naturally, we also have the description for Nargacuga, which is one of the new monsters that's going to be coming up. A flying wyvern covered in pitch black fur. It is extremely agile, especially on the ground, moving with explosive bursts of speed. I know that this is one of the big fan favorites. We've talked about this one at length. And at the end of this specific trailer, we also got a tease for a new monster. Maybe you guys have heard of him before. That right there is the Glavenus. No doubts about it. No ifs, ands, or buts. That poor little Rathian is going to get utterly destroyed by the destructive power of Glavenus. First time we've seen Glavenus, I believe, was Monster Hunter Generations. I fought him in Monster Hunter Generations. I crafted some pieces of his gear in Monster Hunter Generations, and then I actually upgraded further when GU came along to the Nintendo Switch. But the important thing about Glavenus that people should keep in mind is the fact that Glavenus is a part of a group of monsters that is called the Fated Four. And the Fated Four consists of Glavenus, Mizotsune, Astalos, and Gammoth. Now, we have to ask ourselves one question. Would Capcom introduce only one of the Fated Four? Or are we also going to be getting Mizotsune, Astalos, as well as Gammoth? Man, I hope they include all of them. I just want all of them. That'd be amazing. But if we just get Glavenus, that will make me happy enough. If I'm being completely honest, just like Glavenus looks amazing. His armor and his weapons in Generations Ultimate looked amazing. And yeah, I just can't wait. I'm like super hyped for Glavenus. I don't know about you guys. I just really like that particular fight, and I can't wait to see how that plays into Monster Hunter World, particularly in terms of like the turf wars and stuff that we're going to be having with Glavenus. I think that's going to be pretty friggin' sweet. If we go into the hunting section of the website, they talk about the new tool, the Clutch Claw. We've talked about this at length in previous videos, so I'm not going to be going into details about that. They talk about new combos and mechanics for every single weapon. Again, we've made one video every single day for the last week or so. And then they finally talk about a new mode of transport, the Raider Ride. Raider Ride lets you use small monsters, tail raiders, as a mode of transportation. Whistle to call a tail raider and then get ready to ride. Pin your destination on the wildlife map and you'll be taken there automatically. If you don't pin a destination, your Raider Ride will try to find tracks so you can track a target while prepping for a hunt. That is actually really cool because you can basically be on the back of this Jagras as he's sniffing down the tracks, and you're just like, oh, let me just set up, like, for instance, if you're a gunner, let me set up my ammunition, or let me set up other stuff. And I don't know, I think that is an interesting concept, and I think it is important to have these alternative means of transportation, because if the Hoarfrost Reach is going to be such a massive zone, then we're going to need some way to properly navigate that zone. That is not just, hey, let me just run from one end of the map to the other until I get to the monster. Again, also depends on how big the zone actually is. While on a Raider Ride, you can gather, use items, and your slinger open your wildlife map, as well as other specific actions. You cannot control the monster directly. So while you are mounted on these Jagras, you're not actually going to be like, hey, turn left, turn right. It's not a proper mount. It is more like the transportation system, but you can pick up items while you are on top of it, and that is very interesting. There's also a thumbnail in the website where they show us firing a slinger from a mounted position. I wonder if that means we're just doing a quick drive-by on that poor Puke. I'm not sure what the idea is, but again, it's just these crazy mechanics that they're introducing with Iceborne. Mega hyped. And finally, we reach the new headquarters. The name of the new base is going to be Celiana, a new base built as the headquarters for investigations in the Hoarfrost Reach. It's complete with a variety of useful facilities and features to rival those of Astera, all of which are powered by the land's plentiful geothermal energy. Major Celiana facilities include all of the same facilities that are essential to your investigations, like the Ecological Research Center, the Smithy, the Resource Center, and the rest. Additionally, Celiana's layout was designed to ensure even easier accessibilities to each of the facilities, which is good because sometimes it did get old for us to, oh, let me go down to the Resource Center and now let me go back up to the canteen, or let me go down to the Resource Center and now let me go back up to the workshop. You know, it looked cool from a design standpoint, but when you actually get to the gameplay functionality of it, you know, people were going up and down stairs a whole lot. Or even if you take the chains, you were still going up and down a whole lot. So the fact that they made it easier to navigate, I think, is going to be pretty damn cool. Your housekeeper has also set up a little booth outside your room so you can more easily access facilities like the Tail Raider Safari. You can also manage your Palico's equipment next to the item box, making it easier to quickly set up both your Hunter and Palico's equipment. That is cool because every time that you wanted to change the Palico's equipment, you had to go into your room with a loading screen, or you had to start a hunt and then go into the tent, and in the tent you would change it. It was a bit of a pain. Celiana's new facility, the Steamworks. The Steamworks is a new facility that burns fuel to create steam, which is used to power the rest of the facilities in Celiana. Fuel accumulates automatically after completing quests. You can also obtain it in exchange for items and ore materials. By collecting fuel and using it to help out at the Steamworks, you can earn all sorts of extra items. Use fuel points to help the Steamworks make steam for the base. You'll obtain items based on how well you perform in a minigame that challenges you to guess the correct button combinations. Try it out between quests. Oh, it's another one of those minigames that we get to do. I mean, we've had quite a few of these back in, I think it was Generations. We had the one where we fired Palicos out of a cannon to go into different locations to collect items. In other games, we've had the one where we sent palicos on expedition. Oh yeah, 4U had like the best one where you could pick different palicos and you could send them on this mini game to go get like materials for you. But you could pick the different types of attacks that the palicos would do, and it would be like a rock paper scissors type thing. But it was a fun little mini game, so it's nice that they're going back into adding a couple of those things because they keep you busy in between the hunts with a couple of different activities. It makes it a little bit more, how should I say? It makes it so that you're not always just grinding the same old. But then again, it can also get repetitive, so I don't know. We'll have to see how that works out. The top brass of Celiana consists of the Provisions Manager, Analytics Director, Tech Chief, and Grand Muster Chef. And when I saw the Grand Muster Chef, I was like, no way. You go to the Grand Muster Chef and it says, formerly of the First Fleet, the Grand Muster Chef was also once the Muscular Chef's culinary mentor. Though she had been taking a break from commission work for a while, she returns to manage the canteen in Celiana. Her specialty is dishing out piping hot gratin dishes and thick, scrumptious stews. Her warm spirit and delicious food warms the hearts and minds of all those who eat at her canteen. She looks like she's going to be pretty cool as well. She's not going to be as cool as the Muscular Chef because it's all about the gains. The veggies will bleed. Out of the other characters from the top brass of Celiana, the most interesting one appears to be the Tech Chief. It says here, the Tech Chief is a technician from the First Fleet and one of the main architects responsible for building Astera from the ground up. A top-class tech expert known to dabble with bizarre inventions considered essential to the establishment of the new base. He accepted his new assignment on the pretense that it would keep him busy. His focus, however, seems to be on secretly planning something exciting for the new base. That something exciting apparently is the Steamworks. As we can see on the website, he is the one managing the Steamworks, and if you use fuel points in the Steamworks, you're going to get items based on how well you perform in a minigame. So he's basically making some kind of like a slot machine, I guess. Freaking crazy Tech Chief. If we then turn our attention back to the trailer, we get to see a frozen Anjanath. It seems like our good buddy Anjanath met up with that flock of Legiana as they were making their way to the new landmass, and maybe they didn't care to interact with him, so they turned him into an Anjanath popsicle. Or maybe he met a shrieking Legiana, or maybe even Velkhana showed up to pay him a visit and froze him. She's like, no, not dealing with you. You think you're such a badass? Boom. Looks like all of your fire attacks aren't going to do much for you now. So this particular armor set has been one that we have seen across a lot of videos over the last couple of days, and to me this appears to be some kind of an updated Lagombi set. We already know that this is going to be a form of layered armor, but could it also mean that we are definitely getting a Lagombi? It would make sense because Lagombi is an ice monster, and considering the way that this set looks, it's almost confirmed in my opinion, so I think we will be getting a Lagombi. Throughout the trailer, there's also a bone lance that appears to have a halberd point, which I thought looked kind of neat, even though it does seem kind of basic at the same time. But the fact that the point of the lance looks somewhat different means that hopefully they are working on some more creative designs with their weapons, because one of the complaints of a lot of players in Monster Hunter World was the fact that a lot of the weapons did in fact look dull. There are also some really amazing ones, some really cool looking ones too, definitely. But there were also a lot of them that were pretty basic, particularly in the hunting horn tree. So let's hope that they improve on that department. Further in the trailer, we get a glimpse at what appears to be the Anjanath Greatsword, the master rank version of it. Some of you will say, oh, that looks more like the longsword, but I think it's a little bit too thick to be a longsword. And the character is also wearing the master rank Odogoron set that we had seen previously in the longsword video, and is also covered in snow because he's fighting Velkhana and she's just like spewing snow all over the place. Further in the trailer, we also get our first glimpse of the Nargacuga set as well as the Nargacuga insect glaive. I don't know if this is the final form of the insect glaive or not. I've seen Gaijin Hunter's tweet where he expects to see more materials of the Nargacuga being incorporated into the blade itself so that it doesn't have a metal blade. We'll see whether or not that is the case in the final version. And finally, we also see what appears to be like the master rank version of the iron armor set, as well as a very basic iron sword and shield. Now, another interesting thing that happened shortly after the trailer was released was there was this tweet by Astralist where he says, tinfoil hat time, 3 monsters have been teased on this image to confirm at this point Nargacuga and Tigrex, with Glavenus all but confirmed. Theory, we will see Brachydios, Gormagala, Zenogre, Seregios, Lagiacros, as well as the other 3 monsters I can't make out. And then he tweeted at Eric's and Gaijin Hunter. Thoughts? And I gotta say, he does have a point. Like if you look at this image, which was one of the images that was published during the anniversary week of Monster Hunter, we see a couple of interesting monsters here. We see Velkhana, we see Lagiacrus, we see Gormagala. Tigrex has been confirmed. Nargacuga has been confirmed. Glavenus has just been teased in this trailer, which means he's pretty much confirmed. Velkhana also in there. Clearly Nergigante, Rathalos, all of the old monsters are going to be there. We see Kushala Daora here. One of the monsters that he didn't identify, this right here, is Volstrax. I can't even imagine Volstrax showing up in Monster Hunter World. Like, he's the jet plane elder dragon. That'd be pretty friggin' sweet. We also have here in the background, I believe this is Fatalis. So that would be pretty awesome as well. And finally, Braki would be cool to be added. I mean, I would really like to beat the crap out of Gormagala. I would like to see the Gormagala virus that he has. He's got a virus that makes other monsters go berserk. That could be an interesting addition. It could really just multiply the amount of content that you can have in Monster Hunter World Iceborne by having all of these variants added in there. So yeah, could we be getting every single monster in this image added into Monster Hunter World Iceborne on top of new monsters that they're going to be putting in? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you all very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, hit it up with a like button. If you like my content, consider subscribing. Hit the bell notification icon so that you're actually notified when I put up a new video. Stay strong, and may your shields never break.